The world forgives like a warden with keys to no doors. A parable of false prisons, real freedom, and the lie of emotional debt. She came every day for 30 years. She walked the long corridor of concrete and metal, carrying a flower in her hand and a memory in her mind. She believed she was visiting the man who destroyed her life. He was locked away, and she was free. But neither of those things were true. The guard nodded each morning. The door buzzed. She stepped into the cell and sat with no one. Year after year, she forgave him. She forgave his rage. She forgave his face. She forgave the stories she never questioned. But one morning, something happened. The guard didn't press the button. The door didn't buzz. He said, "Ma'am, that room's been empty since the building was built." And in that instant, her knees gave out, not from grief, but from light. The bars in her mind were made of guilt. The prisoner was a shadow. The memory was a playbill from a show that never opened. And the only real thing was her belief that something real had happened. This is the world's forgiveness. A ritual of return, a ceremony at the tomb of guilt. It says, "I forgive you," but means, "You did it." It says, "I'm moving on," but builds monuments to pain. It says, "I'm healing," but guards the wound. It pardons the story, never the truth. And truth is this: injury is impossible. No one has ever hurt you in truth, but to believe that is to lose the world, to gain everything. Lesson 198 says, "Only my condemnation injures me. Not yours, not theirs, mine." The world condemns to punish. The ego forgives to control. "I'll release you when I'm ready," it says. "I'll stop bleeding if you say sorry. I'll love you again, but not yet." And the warden holds keys that open no doors. He rattles them, walks past every cell. But the cells are ideas, and you are both inmate and jailer. Lesson 194 says, "I place the future in the hands of God, not in time, not in memory, not in punishment." To forgive is to stop being time's hostage, to stop believing that pain has substance, to see your brother as innocent, because he is, not because he apologized, not because he changed, but because you remembered what's true. Lesson 193 says, "All things are lessons God would have me learn." Even betrayal, even abandonment, even murder. Not because they happened, but because you believed they did. And what you believe you make, but what is made can be unmade. The murder shows aren't just entertainment. They're reflections of a belief that someone is guilty, that justice is blood, that healing is revenge. But underneath every courtroom, love is pacing the floor, trying to get in, waiting for a crack in the verdict. Forgiveness is the crack. Lesson 196 says, "It can be but myself I crucify." And when you accuse another, you drive the nail through your own palm, not theirs, yours. The dream paints monsters, but monsters are made of mirrors. You see in them what you fear in yourself. You lock them up to avoid unlocking your own guilt. You sit outside the cell and say, "I'm free." But bars in the mind are still bars. Until you forgive, truly. And true forgiveness doesn't say, "I remember what you did and choose to let it go." It says, "What I thought you did never happened." Because nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Lesson 197 says, "It can be but my gratitude I earn, not by punishing another, not by waiting for change, but by setting the prisoner free, and realizing the prisoner was never them. It was always you." The locksmith metaphor isn't cute. It's cosmic. You picked the lock of separation. You built the door. You lit the torch and burned the map. But the key was always in your hand. and it opens nothing but your own eyes. Real forgiveness is not emotional debt relief. It's the collapse of the creditor, the death of the debt, the remembering of wholeness. You don't have to heal what was never broken. You only have to see it rightly. Lesson 195 says, "Love is the way I walk in gratitude." And to walk in love is to stop walking back into the prison yard, to stop waiting for time to fix what guilt invented, to stop naming pain as your teacher and calling that wisdom. No, mighty companion, the teacher is within. The lesson is light. The answer is now. No delay, no process, just peace, because you've had the key all along. And there's no one left to forgive, because no one was ever guilty. Not in God's mind, not in yours, unless you keep dreaming. But even then, the light is patient, waiting for you at the cell door, not to open it, but to show you it was never locked.